menace to sobriety. Just a menace, just a menace, just a menace, menace to sobriety.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Menace to Sobriety with your host Daniel O'Reilly, aka the comedian Dapper Laughs, and I've got a very different episode for you here, sort of straying a little bit away from the subject of sobriety, but personally I think it's really entwined and a really, really important issue, something that has affected me, something that has definitely affected Kirk. He's not here, unfortunately, because this episode would trigger him a little bit, so he's decided to step out of this one. But this episode should come with a little bit of a trigger warning because it might get some people going. It's going to cover the sore subject that's very taboo and not spoken about enough, I believe, and something that is constantly in my view range across my mental health group, Men and Their Emotions, and in my inbox, and that is suicide, and predominantly suicide in men, which is such a tough subject. Personally, myself, I've had my own suicidal thoughts, but also more recently lost a few followers to it that I've been talking to and trying to help. So when I saw this gentleman's story and video online that I think is on about 12 or 13 million views on TikTok now, I reached straight out to him and asked him to come on. But before I introduce him, I'm going to show you the video. This is John Connelly talking about his experience.
Fuck it, let's talk about it. 2 years on from the day that I was going to end my life, I'm back in the exact spot where I was going to do it, and I'm going to show you what was going through my mind that day. So I sat on this rock eating a sandwich, trying to make up my mind if I was going to do it or not. Fucking hell. And then after saying yeah, I was going to do it, I was going to end my life, I sat on this rock trying to work up the courage to jump off. So I tried to jump off. Sitting here thinking, if I jump out far enough, it'd just be a straight drop. And then as I was standing there, a woman with blonde hair came up to me and asked me to take a photo of her family. As I was making up my mind to jump off a fucking cliff. So I told her yeah. And I took a photo of her here. That woman saved my life. This is the hardest video I've ever had to record. I'm vulnerable as fuck right now, but I'm only recording this because to prove this gets better. There's so many people out there who struggle every fucking day. The way that I was struggling, I couldn't get out of my fucking bed. I couldn't do it anymore. I'd made up my mind, I was done. And 2 years later, I'm ready to say goodbye to that part of my life. I'm not that person anymore. If you put in the work, it gets fucking better. I fucking promise life gets so much fucking better. I fucking done it. Oh, I done it.
So please welcome to the Menace to Sobriety podcast, John Connelly. Hello, my friend.
How you doing, mate?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Now, this is such a tough subject and tough thing to chat about, but I do try and keep the podcast as lighthearted as possible.
Yep.
And I'm a bit of a knobhead when it comes to jokes and stuff like that. So,
I'm the same.
okay, so yeah, just a pre-warning there. Sometimes I deal with tricky situations by cracking jokes. But listen, first off, I'm proud of you, man. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you, mate.
I don't even know you, and I know personally how difficult it is to speak about things, but especially to speak online. Your videos sort of made you kind of famous, I think.
Aye, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's still a very strange and surreal feeling.
Yeah.
But it's made me famous for a good reason.
Yes, definitely. And I saw that video before I started following you and started scrolling through your TikTok, and then I started relating to a lot of the other stuff you were saying. I just love your message. I love men. I don't love men. No, I love men that are opening up and talking, right? Yeah. And I think especially man's man. You know, you're into your fitness and your PT and all of that jazz. And I think it's really important. And fuck me, the comments on the video, and then the comments of all the people that have either suffered with it or have connected with it. And then the shares, you look at the shares and you can see that it's being sent to people, hundreds and hundreds of thousands, millions of views. Yeah. And it just speaks volumes about what men are going through.
It's scary how well it was received. And it's also scary how many people relate to it. That's when I read through the comments, and there's so many like, I've been in that same spot, or I feel like I'm in that spot. Yeah. It's a scary world, very scary world.
It is. I want to get up to the video and the point where you posted the video, and then what your reaction is after that. But before I get there, I want to go all the way back. Right. I want to find out who John is. I want you to talk me through who you are, where you grew up, what life was like for you. Yep. And the main thing that I want to get to as we talk through this is how can something like that even become conceivable to you? You know what I mean? Yeah. That's because there's so many people out there that don't understand. I only understand my when I thought about it, I understand my time, and it was a flitting thought. And I spoke to the Samaritans and I reached out for help, but so many people don't. Yep. So I want to know how it got too much for you, how you got there, and then we can talk about everything else. So take me to the beginning, John.
So
who are you?
I'm John Connelly, and I grew up in Glasgow, in Cambuslang. So, just a normal boy, honestly, just a normal guy. I've got a big family, all boys, manic household, and loving parents that just looked after us very well. Grew up quite a bit of a troublemaker.
Bit of a naughty boy.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but I like to cause a bit of carnage when I was younger.
What, fighting or robbing or?
Just fighting and out drinking with my pals and stressing my mum and dad out more than anything. Nothing too serious. Yeah. But I'm just a normal person. That's all I am. Yeah. There's nothing exciting about me, and that's what blows me away with how my content went the way it's went, and the way my message has been pushed, because I think people might see that I'm just a normal guy who's just had a few struggles in life and ended up where I was.
So when you how old were you when you considered
25.
So talk to me about the years leading up to that. What was going on in your life?
Everything was going well from the outside. Everything was going brilliant. I said, nice house, nice car, going nice holidays, but I felt nothing. I never felt any sort of satisfaction from any of that. I was just a workaholic. I liked to keep myself busy because I was struggling with what was going on inside my head. I've just always been a very insecure, self-conscious and shy person, but I've always been very, very driven. And having that balance of not being happy with myself, but working very hard and but also not getting the gratification for myself. Right. It just twisted me inside out. And I never understood that was depression, and the lack of me being able to comprehend what was going on inside my head just made me think, I don't want to be alive. I don't want to feel this anymore.
So that's what I want to delve into. That's what I want to talk about because, and again, I can only talk from my own experience, and I think that this is something that needs to be worked on. You know, this is something that us as men we need to prepare for it, right? As kids, right? Because, I mean, you tell me, what do you think it is? Because I think it's something along the lines of we have these preconceived ideas of how life's going to plan out, right?
Yep.
And then you think, you know, this is going to happen, then I'm going to be happy, right? But then slowly as things happen, like Tyson Fury said, you know, when he became heavyweight champion of the world, that fucked him because he was like, well, what's next? I still don't feel anything.
Yeah.
So you're saying that, you know, inside your mind, you're going, maybe if I do this, if this happens, then I'll feel better about myself. But ultimately, you didn't feel anything about yourself. No. You didn't feel any love.
So when I was really struggling most and when it all made sense for me to try and end my life was, I would think, I've done everything right. I've done it the way you're supposed to do it. I've done okay at school. I've worked from 15, worked hard. I was never a dickhead to anybody. I was never like that guy who was out to ruin other people. I just done it all for myself. I kept myself to myself. But no matter how hard I tried and no matter what I achieved, legitimately, it's just like, this isn't right. You can't be happy for yourself. So why should you be alive? And when I first bought my house, I was 21. So I'm buying houses at 21. I moved out of my house at 19. I had a nice car. I had everything that a 21, 22-year-old could ever ask for. But again, it was just, nothing there.
What, was you lonely? Did you have a girlfriend or?
I did, yeah. I spent almost 10 years with my ex. So from 16, right up to I was 25. And as I say, everything you could ever ask for.
Such a conundrum, isn't it? Right. It's like this is why we can't help. This is why people can't help. This is why, like, because I know, again, going to my experience, it was drugs and alcohol, you know, and grief from my father, and then I was abusing myself. So there was a natural dip and a natural low, and you could kind of go, well, look, if you're going to use too much drugs and you're going to drink too much, and your father, but there was none of that for you. You were just, and then this is massive across the UK. This is huge across that. There's millions of boys out there that are just feeling like this.
It's that famous question. It's what have you got to be depressed about? And that's the big question that everybody always asks you. And you're like, that's about what I never understood it because I was thinking the same. Like, why do I feel like this? I've got no reason to feel like this, but it was in my head. I couldn't get rid of it, and that's the part where I just say we need to understand it better. We need to speak about it more and try and educate people more on the issues that you can have everything in the world, but if up there isn't ticking properly,
because
what you can do.
Yeah, because I know that I have moments and people have moments, you know, where you're just like, oh, I just can't be fucked, man. Like, I can't be fucked. But it's like a passing moment, or it's like an hour or a day. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, you know, I can't be fucked, or what's the fucking point of this? I mean, everyone gets that. But it's that. But for you, it was like that feeling all the time.
Constant. But I still had that feeling 24/7. But I was still doing what I had to do. I was thinking, so like, you confuse yourself. You're like, well, you're still carrying on with everything, and everyone from the outside, no one would know that was inside your head, because. But my way of coping with it was just getting up and going. Being busy is when I stopped. That's when the real issues started. That's when I really couldn't be fucked with anything. Didn't want to leave my bed. Didn't want to brush my teeth. Didn't want to shower. Didn't walk my dogs. Done nothing. Just went. So
that happened to you. That was the progression. It got to. So what was saving you essentially was fucking putting the mask on, and being busy. And then once
feel good.
And so you were doing this, trying to achieve to feel good, and then you couldn't be fucked with the mask.
Yep.
And then that's
the way I am now as well. Where even that's the only downfall of it is I'm very true to myself now. Where see if I don't feel it and I don't feel good, I'm very honest about it now. Where I'm just like, look, it's not for me today. I'm not doing it today. I just want to go and spend the day by myself. And I think that's very important, because that's how I can go away and actually process how I feel and start to get better, instead of just burying it and trying to move on and making it worse.
Did you, back when you were sort of first started going through it, did you reach out to any of your pals or anyone around you?
No. no one. It happened very quickly. I'd say it was over like sort of like 6 months to a year is when I started being like suicidal. When I had the suicidal thoughts, and I thought I really don't want to be alive anymore. And when I was thinking about suicide, I was seeing it as a relief. I was like, this is the right thing to do.
Fucking hell.
It's hard to say. It's very hard to say, but it's the truth. It was the only thing that made sense in my head at the end. It was just like, you're a burden for everyone else, when I wasn't. But just end up, just go.
Yeah, it's heart-wrenching, mate. But the weird thing about it is I can kind of feel it. I can see it. I can, like, I'm not sitting here going, I don't get it. Like, well, I'm sitting here going, oh man, if I get it, I kind of get it. Like, if you know, if you don't have any light, if it's all darkness, you know, and it builds and builds and builds, and then, you know, I get it. I mean, it. Sorry, it's just so tough for me to comprehend, but I'm trying to comprehend it. But I kind of do. But what I'm trying to think of is, you know, what could have been done around that time, or what as someone in your position now, what could be different?
I could have spoke out. I don't like speaking about a past relationship or anything like that, but the first time I admitted I was struggling, I admitted it on Twitter. So I put a tweet out because I felt more comfortable tweeting that I was like, I just lost a bit of weight, and I was starting to feel a wee bit good about myself, and I was like, right, I'm feeling a wee bit better. And I tweeted out, and I was like, I just kept typing just how I felt, and it was just like, I'm really, really struggling, feeling a bit more confident. I was just in this message I still try and push, like, if you're struggling, try and lose a bit of weight, try and be more active.
Yeah.
And my ex said to me, she just seen the tweet and looked at me like, are you serious? Like, you're putting that online, you've not even said a word to me. And that's when, in my head, I was like, you're probably right, but I just felt as if I couldn't do that. I couldn't say to anyone. And it's not until now where I realise it's so fucking easy to open your mouth, and it's so fucking easy. And that's because I've seen so many people do it. That's why I do it.
Yeah, I mean, mate, listen, I didn't want anyone to know what I was going through. Certainly didn't want my fucking, at the time I'd broken up with Shelley, but I saw that as a sign of weakness, and also with my pals, but especially like my mum and that, I didn't want to worry them, you know, that I was going down the wrong way. But I've got this group, I don't know if you've seen it, Men and Their Emotions. It's a Facebook group, right? And what you're saying is it's so true, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with like voicing it publicly on social media. Yeah. It certainly helped me. As soon as I told everyone what I was going through, I mean, I had a lot of people mug me off, but
happens.
And I'm sure you've had it on TikTok, yeah. And why are you doing this for views and all that? And you're like, but the beautiful thing is that like, and this is where the Men and Their Emotions group come. I'll just use this opportunity to talk about it quickly. But there's like 43,000 lads in there, right? Yeah. And there is fucking thousands of them like you that was in your position, right? Yep. And I promise you this, no word of a lie, every single day, because they have to submit like their comment, right? And I've got me and 15 moderators. We have to allow which comments go through, right? And they can do it anonymously. So I mean, we see who it is, but when it goes out to the group, it's anonymous, right? Yep. And it's a space where men can just talk about anything from addiction to parent-child alienation, not being able to see their kids, to fucking debt, to premature ejaculation, fucking anything, right? But every single day, without fail, we get at least minimum one lad saying they want to end it. They want to end it all. You know, we've even had people put pictures of themselves about to do it and all this. And we don't share them. We shared a couple of them at the beginning, and it just triggered everyone. Right. I was like, you shouldn't do that. So what we do now is we have a few lads that know about crisis stuff, and we have the numbers and the things, and we contact them, and we contact some people, and we do all of that jazz. Yep. But that's why I wanted to get you on the podcast, because they're fucking everywhere. But the point is that there's thousands and thousands and thousands of lads. They're reaching out. They're like, they're going, I want to say it. I want to say something. And
exact same idea as what you say. See in my DMs, the amount of guys who say, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's
And
what I get.
It's so much easier as a guy to say it to someone without feeling judged. I think that's a big thing. Like, if you say it to somebody who you care about, or like especially men who've got a partner, you're supposed to be the man, you're supposed to be the person who's looking after them, and you're admitting to them that you're too weak to be able to do anything. That can kill a man. Like that's having that feeling of I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of it comes into it as well, where our ego gets in the way.
Well, man, I think that there's a massive, massive part of all of this that is how society sort of deems how we're supposed to be as men.
Yeah.
If you imagine that, you know, between, and I think a big part of what's sort of saved me over the last 10 months in regards to my sobriety is when I go boxing with the lads, is all of the lads in there, we're all pushing each other while we're, because 90% of the time it's just fitness, and then 10% we're sparring, right? But it's like if there's one of us lagging behind, the rest of them are going, fucking come on, get up, and then afterwards it's like hugs and high fives and fucking well done, and there's a little how's everyone getting on, and there's like a little chat, but you feel like you're in a positive group where men are sort of motivating you, but also when you walk out you get that natural endorphins, right? And you have this feeling where you're like, oh, I've done something, I've achieved something. And I'm a firm believer that when you don't have them wins, you were saying that you were getting all the wins and everything was happening, but when you don't have those personal wins, like you said about your weight,
my wins were coming from materialistic things, but it wasn't coming from working hard, it wasn't coming from actual chemicals inside my body being released. It was just, there's a nice more. It wasn't right. But I thought it was right because it gave me that wee bit or something. And also had my problems from the outside. I was like, John's doing well for himself. And that's what I think. I think that, you know, fitness is a massive thing, but also for me, I'm like when you get into that point, does it feel like you're getting it's like tunnel vision, it's coming in closer and you're getting pushed further away from everyone else? It's scary how lonely you feel, but you also want to feel lonely. You don't want anybody to be around you, so you push yourself further into it, especially when it gets very dark. And there was times when after it all, when I was feeling myself getting better, I would try and like push myself back into being like, not suicidal, but in a bad mind state because it's comfortable. When you start to do better, and this is something that I've spoke to someone about recently, is when I try to do better, I feel like I'm just about to let myself back down again. See, having that feeling of like you want it again, that's scary.
That's weird.
It's like you know you can do it, you know you want to do it, but you're so fucking scared to commit because you think, what if I don't and I fall back into that trap? And that's why a lot of people struggle to make it back out.
That day, that morning when you woke up?
Yep.
Had you planned? How long had you planned that day for to go up? What was it? What's it called? Ben
Ann. So I'd only planned it for. I'd probably say about a week is when I started really thinking like, how am I going to do this? And then like for like 2 or 3 days, I was like, I know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what mountain I'm going to go to, but my plan is to make it look as if I fell off a mountain, so that my family never knew that I committed suicide. So it was that I'd thought about it that much. I'd had my life insurance like that. I just had everything all set up. At the time I was selling my house, I thought my house was gone anyway. I don't care. Money means nothing to me. I just want to go. I just want to be away, but I don't want my family to know I've killed myself. I want my family to think I was away a nice day out and I fell, and unfortunately my son's gone. That's a bit. I've not cried in ages about it, but it's hard, but it's hard to speak about. Like,
sorry, mate.
It's alright, and it's fine. I need to speak about it. Like,
it's the family aspect that hurts you, doesn't it?
Aye. It's I'd say when I mention that, and I'm just like, my mum without her son, my mum and my dad, like at my funeral, and this is why I do what I do. That's why I speak about what I speak about, because it's fucking heartbreaking, man. It's fucking heartbreaking.
I'm sorry, mate. I didn't mean that.
It's alright. It's alright, mate. That's the first time that I have cried about it, to be fair, but
Well, I guess that I think it's the aspect of, you know, what you wanted your family to think, and you're looking back and you're almost like grieving as your family over you, and that hurts, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's an important message that people, because at the time, I'm sorry, mate, take a second.
That's okay. I'm fine.
But at the time, you didn't have these emotions about them, did you? Or did you?
No, I just seen it as I always seen it as a burden. No one really actually cared about me, because in the time of me trying it, like I wasn't in my house. I'd been staying in my brother's for almost a month. He was in Ireland, so it was just me lying on his couch every night. My full life had just fell apart, and I was just like, no one's reaching out. But at the same time, I never told them that it had happened.
What had fallen apart in your life at that point? Sorry.
So that's when, in the January, my granddad passed away. My work, I was a disaster in my work after being very good at my work for years. Me and my ex had just split up. I was selling my house. I'd just bought a 50 grand car for me and my ex. I was thinking my dogs, I didn't know if I've got 3 dogs, didn't know where they were going to be, and I was going to have to move back in with my parents after like everything I've worked for. Just domino effect, just constantly, and it was when I was trying my hardest to get better. That was what I really struggled with when I was losing the weight. I was actually trying again, and that's when everything got worse.
That's what scares you about trying too hard.
That's why I'm still this sort of way where
It's like PTSD.
Aye. So when will this be released? For us, well,
I'm not sure, but soon.
soon
Yeah.
it'll be. So that's where
We're in August now, so
aye. So we'll be.
because you're coming up 80 days, aren't you? Till was it 80 days? I saw a video.
I've done it now. So that was in July. I went back up. That's what that video's from.
You went back up the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So that's where that viral video's from. And that's that day. That was 2 years after. Nah, the reverse of it. That's where everything started popping off with the social media after posting that. But I talking about wanting to commit to new things and back myself and go for it again. So I'm leaving my job. So I'm leaving my job at the end of September. I was just saying I've not handed my notice in yet, but I'm handing it in on Monday. And
Oh, is that why you wanted to know when the podcast was going out?
before I really
you
grasp
heard it.
myself in.
Where do you work? Where is it?
Parks Motor Group.
Well, you heard it here, Parks. He's gone.
Aye,
he's
I'm
out.
gone. So I'm 27 now, and I've spent too long being too scared to go for it again.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go for it.
Good man. What before we get into what you got planned next, I just want to ask you something, because it sounds like to me, and I preach this about alcohol and drug abuse as well, is and it's very similar, you know, like addiction or any form of like mental health struggle that you've got, you know, like for you, your depression.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't check it while you're feeling it, it just takes a couple of fucking really bad life events to push you over the edge. Like for me, for my drink and drug use, it was probably a little bit beyond just for playtime. But then when my dad died, my coping mechanism, which was my drink and drugs, it destroyed me and put me and gave me, you know, my suicide situation.
Yeah.
But with you, you know, your depression was there; it was lingering. You know, and you were finding it hard to cope when everything was going well. And then, like you said, your granddad died, things happened in your life. Do you think if you'd reached out before those things had happened, it wouldn't have got as bad?
Yeah. 100%. The worst part about it all is my brother he's bipolar, recently diagnosed that, and he attempted suicide in 2019.
Oh my God, really?
My older brother, Aaron. And so
this-
I had somebody in the family, and I was there on the day he was in crisis, and I was taking him to hospitals, and like.
How long was this before you? Sorry if you don't mind me asking.
2 years.
Fucking hell.
2 years before me. So that also pushed me back into being, I can't tell anybody. Like how can a parent deal with two sons both wanting to end their lives? Because parents are going to blame themselves. Parents are going to look at it and go,
100%, yeah.
what did I do wrong? And don't get me wrong, my mum and dad fucked up a lot. The parents are not human.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
But they always tried their best. With the roof over our head, we always had food on the table.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things my parents could have done better. But
Yeah.
That's life.
That's like, yeah. I mean, look, I'm a parent. Do you know what I mean? I'm a parent. When I look back at my parents, were my age when they had me.
Aye.
I'm a knob still. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
But that's
parents
what you
are
learn.
parents.
That's what you learn as well. You learn from their mistakes.
Exactly.
And then again, your child will learn from your mistakes, and that's how we get better.
But if you don't mind me delving, if I'm allowed
Go for
to,
it.
what was your brother's situation? How did he, or what happened? What was the actual?
So it's struggled for a while. Aaron actually opened up before attempting anything. Aaron
He
always,
didn't open up.
No, he did.
He did.
He did. Yeah. So Aaron played professional football with Ayr. Well, he signed with Hibs when he was 15. And then he went to Ayr at 17, 18, playing first team football. But he struggled a lot with his head. So the only reason he left Hibs because he was 15 in Edinburgh and he couldn't deal with it. And he never put the pieces together until he was a bit older. So when he was playing football, similar to yourself, he would be taking things. He'd be taking, say, cocaine. He'd be drinking too much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and it's rife in football, absolutely rife in football. And he got to a point where he was getting better, and then all of a sudden, his wife got a text at 2 in the morning just saying, "I'm done, I'm finished." And his plan was to throw himself from their train in Edinburgh. So, luckily, he never. He went missing for a day. He went missing for a day, aye. And this sums up where my head was the day that my brother was missing and I knew everything was going on. I went to work. I went to work because it was my safe space. That's where I went to go and distract myself a all. And then it got to like 2 o'clock in the day. I was like, what am I doing? I'm working. I need to go try to find my brother. They say he could be dead. And I'm standing in here. Police found him in Glasgow coming off a bus. And then he was in hospital he was sectioned for 6 weeks, I think. 6 weeks.
Oh man, I'm so sorry, man.
It's fine. It's fine. If it hadn't, without sounding crazy, I'm so thankful that all these things have happened to me now because I now understand so much more. I was so naive to so much, and now I feel like I really understand a lot, and I understand myself more. And just look at my social media, looking at the impact I've made in people's lives, and that's.
No, I completely agree, and my ethos or ethos, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, is the same. You know, if you can take your struggles and use them to help people, then they were worth it.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to get an understanding for, and why I wanted to delve a little bit into your brother is, you know, you're from the same family, you're of the same blood, and you both suffer with the same thing. So what's the connection? You know, what is it?
Genetic?
Is it genetic? Is there a chemical imbalance in your mind? Is it the atmosphere? I mean, childhood trauma. You know, I don't want to delve into all of that stuff, but what I mean is, what did you and your brother? Because it sounds like you both had quite successful lives, teen years, and everything like that.
Yeah.
But that you know, there was this, and I can put my finger on it, being like, I'm not good enough. You know, or this ain't doing it for me. Do you know what I mean? But why? And what is it? Natural dopamine, less dopamine levels. What is it?
I know it's so hard because again, me and my brother Aaron as well. Like, if you were to speak to my mum or my dad, and they'd be like the same person. Like, I hung about together all the time. We still did hang about together until recently. Obviously, both of us are working on ourselves. So, our life was very similar as well. Well, with like the moving out at a young age, having long-term partners from a young age, like everything we done, he was a lot better at football. I was fucking shite.
Older brothers are that.
I know, I always better.
Yeah.
So we had a very similar like path.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that played a part in it, but I think a lot of it will be childhood trauma and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Because we had a rough upbringing. Like, my mum and dad had what would have been 5 or 6 children at that time. By the time we got a wee bit older, so it was tough. It was tough work from a rough area, and our dad was extremely tough on us for the right reasons, to be fair. Because if he wasn't, we'd end up like some of the people that stay where we grew up.
Yeah.
Half of them are dead or in jail.
Was there a lot of violence where you grew up? Yeah, a lot of gang fight.
Aye. So if you're from Glasgow and you're listening to this, it's pronounced. I pronounce it halfway, but it's halfway. So halfway in Cambuslang. Go back there 20 years ago. It was Beirut. It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, my accent wouldn't last long around there, would it?
No. It was never that bad. It's like young teams. It's like Neds.
Yeah.
And they were all young hard men beside when they're with each other, and just daft wee boys when they're not. It's always the same. But when you're brought up around that, it's easy to fall into that trap.
Yeah, of course.
Especially even parts of London. That's where we
Yeah,
are just now, and that'll be
Yeah.
very similar.
But the reason why I ask is because I'm looking at, I look at the relationship between me and my brothers, and I've got two brothers, and one from my father, same father, and so one from my mum's first marriage, which is my brother, and one from my mum's second marriage.
Yep.
And me and my brother from my mum's first marriage, so with my dad,
Yep.
they had the same dad. We're the same. We have, drug, alcohol and drug problems, addiction problems, in different ways. He I can't say too much about him, but I don't talk to him unfortunately anymore. We don't talk anymore since my father passed away. There was something a bit between us where
Families are complicated. Families are always complicated.
I think it's got something to do. I had to make a choice, about him staying alive or not. And anyway, I won't go into it too much. But anyway. But he suffers really bad. I know he still suffers really bad now. And I love him and everything. But he suffers with similar things to me, different drugs and different things.
Yep.
But my other brother from my mum, I mean, he's like quiet. He don't drink. He ain't into drugs. He's into his fitness. He's never been. I ask him, man, do you need to talk about anything? And he's like, fucking no. I'm fine. We go for a run every Sunday. He's had no drama in his life. Yep. Do you know what I mean? He's nice, quiet. He's got a sensible missus, sensible job. I think he's only ever had one bird. I think he's hopefully shagged more than one. But I mean, I've only ever seen him with one. But what I mean is, couldn't be any more opposite.
Yeah.
And the common denominator in that is my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, same as me, dyslexic, ADHD, loved drinking, funny, but fucking psycho as well. Mad anger management problems and everything.
I've never seen my dad drunk in my life. I've never seen my dad drink, but anger issues is. I always feel bad saying it. Obviously it's my dad, but he's got serious anger issues. Like when he goes, it's scary, and seeing that as a child, it's scary to deal with. Yeah, but I can see parts of how I am the way I am because of my dad. Yep. I can also see it because of my mum. There's parts of it, like I was a very angry child. Yeah. Me and my dad were very similar that way. That we always fell out. Yeah. Because of both of us had a short fuse. But at the same time, my mum's more works like you would not believe still to this day. The crazy amount she works and the way that she can avoid her issues. And we've had a chat recently about all this sort of stuff, and it's weird having a chat like that with your mum, but it's good because I'm starting to piece together everything from my childhood. As you said from the start, like everything that's led up to now, that's what's made you who you are today. I don't know if you watch any Tony Robbins or anything, but Tony Robbins talks about in the blueprint. In the blueprint is saying pretty much that everything that you've done, everything that you think or thought, and that's put this image in your head of who you are, who you should be. And when you learn how to rip that blueprint up and start again, and that's when you start
that's power.
When you start to see the difference. And obviously Tony Robbins is a lot better than me at motivating people and speaking about it, but watch it. It makes so much sense.
I get exactly what you mean, and I didn't want to just bring you on right and be like, tell me your story, and then like just try and get some clips to fucking leech off your. That wasn't my intention. Was because I am deep into this. I'm deeply connected with my audience, right, and I'm deep into this mental health thing now, from a perspective where it's personally other people's stuff is personally affecting me. I mean, the other week I was sending videos out to my followers that had got tour tickets, and I was like, thank you very much. And this woman contacted me and said, my fella, he's X months sober through watching your podcast. Can you do him a video? I'd done him a video saying congratulations. He messaged back. We had a chat, and then he was they were talking about their struggles and what he's going through. And then a couple of days later, I got a message from her saying, look, he's ended it. He's gone. And it fucking broke me in half. It really did. And then I constantly get messages from lads saying, I'm gonna, and all of this stuff. And
It's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
It is, and it's making me well up a little bit, but it also makes me feel like I've got something real to give apart from my comedy to my audience.
Yep.
And not that all of my audience like it. I get a lot of unfollows and people slagging me off and that because they're there for the comedy. But it genuinely, like you said, it genuinely makes me feel like I've got something to give
Purpose.
to them. A bit of a purpose, yeah. And what I wanted to get from you and this conversation is I wanted to really look into it, and that's why I was asking about your family and your dad, and look back and try and see what the common denominator is and where things can be implemented. And I honestly think that the key to all of this, and I know they say it's good to talk and all that, but the key to all of this is not to wait for that thought. It's not to wait for that thought. It's to when you feel like it's not a bad day. I'm not having a bad day. This is a bad life.
Yeah.
When you're starting thinking like this is bad, I can't shake this feeling. That's the moment you've got to reach out. Yeah. And I feel like, you know, the only thing that lads can that you think. I mean, I can remember back in the day I went to my doctors and everything like that and loads of stuff, but. You know, you think, I've got to pay for a counsellor or wait on an NHS waiting list. But that's not the case. You can literally just call a phone line. You can, I mean, what I'm saying is, what advice would you give?
I think so. I'm really trying to target schools. And that's what I'm really trying to target just now. I've got some things in the pipeline, working with councils and stuff and trying to go down that route because I think that earlier that we can educate children on being a man doesn't mean not showing emotion, and also knowing why you might feel like that and knowing what you can do to make it better, then the better. Unfortunately, we're never going to help everyone of this generation. We can try as much as possible, but it's trying to influence the younger generation and you hope that people of my age and my generation see that and go, oh, we can do this, we can get better. And that's where I am with it. That's my thought process towards it.
I think,
and what made me think that as well is because it was weird. So we were going to a shop one day to go and get some stuff for dinner, and there was this young child out in the front of Iceland, and he came up to me, he's like, I've seen your TikToks. It was the first time I thought, oh, you're young, and I know the stuff I talk about. Yeah. He's like, I got a photo and stuff. Perfect, no bother to a photo. And then he just opened up to me. Like, he sent me a message on TikTok, and he was just like, I'm really struggling, I'm getting bullied in school. A lot of issues, and he was like, I just don't want to be alive anymore sometimes. And I was just like, at that age, maybe 13, 14, I never had that feeling. I never had that. I don't want to be alive.
It's hard. It's tougher now with social media for them as well, I think.
Aye, it is. A lot tougher. So that's why I post what I post. If you look at my content, you'll see I post some ridiculous stuff as well where I'm acting like an idiot.
Yeah, good. I love that shit.
Aye, because I'm not just somebody who's depressed and that's all I talk about.
Yeah.
I've still got a personality. I'm still a human. I'm not just a robot that wants to get better. Like, yeah. I've got more about me than that.
And I think a massive one, especially for you and the work, if you're going to do it with the schools, is looking at what causes the depression in regards to regards to what you're growing up through. Because I come from an extremely bad breakup with my mum and everything like that. That I definitely had childhood trauma, right? And that childhood trauma manifests itself in many different ways. And I think if we can get a message out to even kids, not even just kids, even like fucking 30-year-old men, right? No. Any 30-year-old or any men really that are going, I wonder why I feel like this. Well, have a little look back. It'd be amazing if there was something there that said, look, have you been through any of this when you were a kid? Because we package that shit and we hide it. And especially as men, when we turn into men, the last thing we want to talk about is how we felt as a child, right? It's fucking bullshit. But if men's mental health was understood a little bit more, where it's like, look, if you went through any of these things, if you come from a slightly unstable household, if you didn't get the right environment to grow into like into a child that felt, you know, safe, essentially, if there was anything, and it can be a list of anything, and now you're feeling these things, almost like it's the cause of something that's happening, instead of it just being like, oh, do you know what? Why am I different? Why am I feeling like I'm broken? When for me, it was like, right, go and speak to a counsellor, and all of the fucking knots in my mind were slowly untangled, and you're like, right, oh, that's because that back there is because of this.
It's a surreal feeling. See when you put two and two together.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Go, oh wow. We spoke about that not long ago, about something that I like to do, and that's just pure childhood trauma. Like I know why I done that now, like abandonment, and why
Exactly.
Like with my mates, I'm bad. See, my mates don't text me back.
Exactly.
I think they hate me.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I go that thing defensive, like, oh, fuck them.
Yeah, we are that every single one of us, regardless if you come from a beautiful £1 million fucking house and you had love, there's always something that you're programmed to behave a certain way. I mean, for me, there's loads. I mean, I don't want to get started, but I'm a fucking nutcase, and it all stems from. I mean, I've got an amazing mum, I had an amazing dad, and all that, but life's fucking mad.
Aye.
But what I'm saying is, to all the kids out there, or even the fully grown fucking adults like us, do you know what I mean? If there was more awareness for it, like a fucking manual where if this happened to you, you might be feeling like this. If this happened, because it's like there's a paywall behind it that you've got to get to. You've got to get to a counsellor. You've got to sit down and go for it. And then if there was more awareness, if you were going into schools and going, look, listen, if you've come from, you may feel like this in the future, and then you might be able to tackle it. So maybe that's something you could help them with.
Yeah, and I think that social media can help with that as well, because
Definitely.
you see, like, seeing these fake profiles, you get a lot of them, obviously, people they're projecting all the stuff from their life, and they tear you to shreds and they say horrible stuff to you.
Yeah.
But you've also got the ones who have a fake profile and they'll open up a bit.
Yeah.
So like when I talk about, like, you'll see my like, fuck it, let's talk about it videos.
And I love that catchphrase. I was going to fucking steal it until I started.
So just like, fuck it, let's talk about it. And that's like me trying to attract some people in. And
it's like connecting with them.
I know when I start talking about things that I went through, and I start to piece it together for them. So I'm like, because this happened, I got like this, and this is how I tried to fix it.
Yeah.
Or I'll try and say, like, fuck it, come on, let's get it together. Like, let's keep it going. And I'm massive on having to let the past go. And that's huge. You have to let the past go, no matter what it was.
Yeah.
And this is going to sound insensitive, but the first thing I get is like abuse and stuff that's happened in the past, or sexual abuse, and I know that's a lot harder to let go.
Yeah.
But until you let that go, you're never going to change.
Yeah.
It's so hard to say, but it's the truth. And you have to learn how to maybe not forgive that, but you have to learn how to move on from that.
Yeah.
And not just ignore it.
It's very much like the blueprint you were talking about, living in an old blueprint of yourself.
Yep.
And that's why for me sobriety is so powerful, because once I stripped away the drink and drugs, and then I had to fucking find who I was and then deal with everything. And I was like, well, who do I want to be? Do you know what I mean? Do I still want to be that guy? And you can try and build it. Well, look, listen, John, I'd love to see more from you on connecting the dots from the past to the future. I'm not telling you I want to do it. No.
Send me a text once a week.
Yeah. Okay, can you do one of these? But I think that you've, even though it's really difficult to understand, I think you've got a beautiful voice. I think you've got a beautiful voice in general.
Message.
Yeah,
voice.
Yeah, message. I just, I was sat thinking at one point, I want to get on more men that are opening up and coming at this thing from a different angle. I know for a fact that I've got hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people that are viewing my stuff across all social media that are going to be going through what you're going through. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. And do you want to finish on anything to everyone that's out there? Final words?
It's what I say at the end of most of my videos is life gets better, I promise. That's us.
Thank you very much. And where can they find you?
So you find me on TikTok or Instagram, so it's Jai Connelly, so Jai CONNOLLY and then number 1. That's where you'll find me.
Wicked. It's a broodlit moonlit night tonight, man. John, thank you, mate. Thank you, and thank you so much for sharing. Sorry that it got a bit emotional, but it's touchy stuff, and and I meant what I said, even though I don't know you, and it's a bit condescending, but I'm proud of you, man, and I fucking love that.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Sharing is caring. If you know anyone that's suffering please send them over to John's stuff to have a little look. It's really relatable. It touched my heart. And also show him this podcast, tag away, pass the pod around, share it. It's a really important subject that I'm desperate to do loads more work on. And leave your comments below. And yeah, make sure you give John a follow. And that was Menace to Sobriety. Thanks again. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
It's fucking training here, isn't there? Fuck me. Hello, we are going to take the Menace to Sobriety to the live stage, and we need a live studio audience to interact with us, to come along, listen, laugh, and learn everything about sobriety, mental health, well-being, and just come along for a night out with like-minded people. We are going to be going live on the 30th of August, 27th of September, 25th of October, and the 29th of November. That's one a month. Get your tickets now. Come down, meet the team, and have some fun. Menace to Sobriety live, coming soon. Oh yes, and don't forget, if you want to come and see me live and meet me, I'm going on tour. The Daniel O'Reilly Out of Character full UK tour kicks off in January 2024, and tickets are on sale right now. I'm going to try and get out and meet as many of you as possible, and of course, I'm going to be bringing the laughs all over the UK. There's 23 dates right now, and I'm adding more all the time. Hit the link in the bio and get your tickets now, and come have some fun. If you're going through a tough time at the moment, please don't suffer in silence. Feel free to pick up the phone and contact any of these helplines. I personally, myself, at one of my darkest points, contacted the Samaritans, and it completely changed my outlook and got me out of a really deep, dark place. A problem shared really is a problem halved. So if you don't feel confident talking to those around you, check out any of these organisations and give them a call. This is my Facebook group. Just simply search on Facebook, Men and Their Emotions. It's for men only, but once you're in there, you can talk anonymously about your problems and help others and just feel a little bit of community. So come join the conversation, Men and Their Emotions, on Facebook. Thanks for watching.
Menace to sobriety. Just a menace. Just a menace. Just a menace. Menace.